Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Now the next few videos are going to be more like question and answer videos. At the moment, me and Finn are super busy working. We haven't been able to do as many vlogs, so I want to be able to try and make some more videos that may be a little bit more informative about some of the travel that we have been doing over the last year, I guess. So if you don't know, if you're new to this channel, hello, I'm Ellie. Last 18 months almost, me and Finn, my partner, we have been travelling around the world, I want to say. We have been doing a working holiday here in New Zealand, and we also went and travelled Fiji and went and travelled Southeast Asia for 3 months. So we did a fair amount of travelling, and we are coming towards the end of this, so I want to try and get some informative videos about our travels. Today I'm going to do a Q&A video about Southeast Asia. So I've come up with a load of questions that I get asked commonly, or just common questions that are asked generally. I'm going to try my best to answer them. So without further ado, make sure you are subscribed down below. I'm so close to 1,000 subscribers and would love to get there. I think I've got about 9 more subscribers to go, so yeah, almost at that target. So I'd really love it if you could subscribe. Make sure you give this video a massive thumbs up if it was helpful, and yeah, let's go on with it. So just to recap where me and Finn visited whilst in Southeast Asia. So we started off our travels in Bangkok in Thailand, and we travelled the north of Thailand for about 10 days. We then went to Laos for a week and then went to Vietnam for about almost a month. Travelled Vietnam for quite a while. We then went to Cambodia for a week. We then went to the south of Thailand for about 3 weeks again. 3 weeks to a month, and then we went to Malaysia for again about 10 days and finished our trip in Singapore, where we only spent a couple of days before then going home for a month and then come back out to New Zealand. So yeah, we did a fair amount in Southeast Asia and did a lot. If you do want to see a breakdown of everything we spent, there is a video, I'll link it down below, of everything we spent in Southeast Asia and how much it costs us, because I do get asked that a lot. So first question, everybody always asks us, where was our favourite place to travel? I'm really sorry about this, it keeps focusing and unfocusing. I think it's because it's just the natural light. Everyone asks us where was our favourite place we visited. Now this question, when we were home, we got asked so much and it drove me mad, because we went to so many places. Like, how can you pick a favourite place out of like 3 months worth of travel? Like, it's just impossible. But I always give this answer. I give a few places just because I do find it hard to answer. So the first place, I would say we really enjoyed Vietnam as a whole. There wasn't one particular place where we were like, this is our most favourite place in the world, like Queenstown here for us. But Vietnam as a whole, we really enjoyed the north, where it was just so picturesque. We enjoyed the south, where we went to like theme parks, went on the beach. We just enjoyed it as a whole. And that's probably one place where we said like we would probably go to Da Nang or somewhere as a cheap like week away or something. And the food was so good. There was just elements, and all of those elements together we really enjoyed. I'd then say Siem Reap in Cambodia was such a highlight. We spent 4 nights there, and going to see Angkor Wat was incredible. Most amazing ancient temples we'd seen. And then we also went to a kids art studio where they bring underprivileged kids to they give them lessons every week. This woman from Japan, high school teacher in Japan, she spent all of her money putting it into this studio and having classes for kids, and honestly, like, it was just so heartwarming. And yeah, we really enjoyed Siem Reap, actually, more than we thought we would, and we preferred it a lot to Phnom Penh. We also met there a couple of friends who we are still friends with, Max and Lucy, and that was really nice because we managed to keep seeing them throughout the trip, so that was another highlight. Yeah, there was just so many things we loved about it. And then also another kind of stand-up place was the Phi Phi Islands. That really stood out to us. If you think of when someone says Thailand, the first thing I think of personally is beaches and all that sort of stuff, and the Phi Phi Islands was the one place where you look at it and you think that is just a postcard. to any of the beaches we had been, that was just such a standout place. We really enjoyed the snorkeling. We loved going to Maya Bay. The food was great, and although it was small, we still just really enjoyed the few days we had there. Then goes on to where was our least favourite places. Now this one I actually find really easy to answer. Our least favourite place was Laos. Now, some people go and they really enjoy like Vang Vieng. It's a very much a party place. We just didn't enjoy it. Unfortunately, I think we just had bad experience after bad experience. We did the 2-day slow boat, which actually we found such a drag. And I actually think we would have preferred to just fly. Also, the border would have been so much easier if we flew, I think. We also found in Vientiane there wasn't that much to do there. We saw some temples and then we found it was very limited. And we also just found that, I mean, when we went to Luang Prabang, and the waterfalls was amazing. So maybe I'm trying to exclude Luang Prabang a little bit because that was actually not too bad. But wherever we found, just because we were tourists, they were obviously trying to get more money from us and more money, and we found ourselves in situations where, like, for example, we got a tuk-tuk from the slow boat port to our hotel, and we said our hotel number and they said hotel name, and they said they'd take us there, and then they just dropped us off in the middle of Luang Prabang and said, there you go. And we said we've paid to be taken to our hotel, and they just looked at us and laughed. And I think those situations unfortunately just gave that whole experience a bit of a dampener. So we actually always say Laos is probably our least favourite place. Another place where we didn't particularly enjoy was Phnom Penh in Cambodia. It wasn't the safest places. Of course, we went there and we learnt a lot about the history, which I think was so important, but it wasn't really safe to be out at night. Yeah, we just didn't enjoy that city very much either. Now, another question which is super important, and a lot of people ask, is how much did it cost? How much did 3 months of travel cost? Now, I did do a video, if you want to go take a look at that, as I said before, about exactly how much we spent in each country, etc. Because each country really does differ. But we spent, or just kind of making a general, this is how much we spent. We spent about £8,000 for the two of us, so about £4,000 each. Now, originally we wanted to spend about £1,000 a month, and we did end up spending more than we'd liked, and this is why we couldn't go to Bali. And also, so many people actually had bad experiences in Bali that we met that we didn't really want to go and spend a long amount of time over there. But considering we had we travelled for 3 months. For £4,000, was all our travel, the flights going between the countries, the food, accommodation. And the accommodation, we only stayed in one hostel and we all had private rooms. Yeah, so really we can't complain with how much we spent, but that kind of, to give you an idea, was how much we spent between both of us. Visas is such a complicated, actually visas aren't that complicated once you get your head around what you need for each country. So I'm just going to give a list, please, as well. I'm not a travel advisor, just this is what happened to us when we went and what we decided to do, and etc, etc. So for Thailand, for UK citizens, you can get a 30-day kind of, it's not a visa, but you get 30 days free entry. So what you can do is visa hop, which is what we did. So we went to Bangkok, arrived in Bangkok, went there for 10 days up to the north of Thailand, and then we went away for probably about a month and a half, before we went back into the country and did another 30 days. And again, we used, I think it was almost like 25 days of that visa, of the next 30 days. So we visa hopped. A lot of people decide to do this because there's so much to do in Thailand that 30 days can be enough if you want to just do the highlights, but we were traveling and backpacking and we wanted to do a bit more. So easy going through airports. Now, one thing I will mention is that going through air border will probably be easier, especially if you're coming from Cambodia. Now, I'll go on to Cambodia in a minute, but our friends who went from Siem Reap, they got a bus all the way to Bangkok, and they said they were at the border waiting for hours because it was just more difficult. And we flew in and it was super easy and nice and swift basically. Now I don't know if you need to leave a certain amount of time before you visa hop, but that is what we did. We left it a month and a half and we had no problems. For Laos, we bought our visa on the border. I can't remember completely about our visa, but it's in my passport. You get a whole like page. We only stayed 10 days, but I'm pretty sure it's 30 days. Again, don't count on me for that. If you need any exact advice, go to the government website or look up like Lao Visa UK or something, and it will come up with the government website information from the UK. That is more precise information than what I am giving you. But for Laos, we did the slow boat, and we went from the went to Hua Jai and did the border there. And just got our visa on arrival. Again, if you want to see that more in depth, if you look back in my videos, there is a video about us going on the slow boat, and it'll show you all of that process. But with that, make sure you have dollars with you to pay for the visa. Make sure you still have Thai baht to pay for for a fee when you arrive, and then make sure you have the Lao currency, which I can't remember what it is, to pay for a tuk-tuk to your hotel. Vietnam, we bought online. We bought it before we left New Zealand, so we had it for about 2 months before we arrived. Now, it was pretty easy to do online. Again, I just got it through the UK government website. Now, we had ours printed and ready to go. We got it printed in New Zealand before we went, and just make sure you're exact on dates. If you again want to see my video of how not to cross the Vietnam border, go check that out, because you'll learn from my mistakes. I put the wrong date for me and Finn of when we were arriving, and we arrived 2 days early, and we had to stay. They were very good about it, actually. I mean, it wasn't easy, and we were there very late, but we basically had to stay till midnight, and they allowed us entry 1 day early. But my gosh, it was confusing. We were doing Google Translate to try and make sure that we could communicate, and then we had to phone the hotel because we were like, we are coming, we're just going to be there at like 1 a.m. It was a bit of a nightmare. Luckily our bags were kept safe, and that was an example of what not to do, but getting the visa was easy. We just had to make sure we arrived on the right date. Now, Cambodia we did online as well. You pay in US dollars. Again, I just got it through the government website because there's a lot of scam websites and everything. And an air border, as I've said before, is so much easier. People I've heard going to Cambodia through land borders find it so much more difficult than going through the airport border. It was so easy. Showed them our visa and went straight through. So for Malaysia, you get, I can't remember what it was, you either get 30 or 90 days free if you're a UK citizen. It was super easy to get. You just turned up and they just stamped and you went straight through. So that was super easy. Again, government website if you want the exact information for that. And then Singapore, again, went in for free as a UK citizen. I can't remember how long again it is, but that was super easy process, and that didn't take too long. I think the only thing you have to do is do something online basically to say, oh, you'll be here from this to this date. I don't remember having to pay for anything. I just remember that I think it's like 48 hours before you have to basically say you are going into this, you're coming to Singapore, this is where you're staying, this is how long you're staying, this is when I'm going in, this is when I'm going out, pretty much. But that was quite simple. Again, government website, super easy. So that is visas. Visas can be confusing. You've just got to find the right information, and I've said this a million times already, government website was the best place to go for that information. You can find a lot of scam websites, so you just got to be careful online. But yeah, found it pretty simple. Vaccinations is another thing people always ask about. The easiest thing to do is go to a travel clinic or ask your doctor, and just get them administered, or go and ask them way beforehand or a few months beforehand. Me and Finn obviously knew we were going to Asia and managed to get some at home, but not all of them because there was a shortage of like rabies. And we, here in New Zealand, again, there was still a shortage. I think we managed to find a clinic that got us all our vaccinations done before we needed to go. And just be conscious that some of them can cost a lot of money. There is one vaccination which I can't remember the name of, but it was quite a lot of money, but we decided to get it to be on the safe side. But yeah, just, it's better to get all than none. But yeah, some clinics will say differing information, but just go to a clinic or a doctor. That is the easiest thing, and just go as far hand before you can. As far in advance as you can. One other thing I get asked about a lot, or we did, is do you need a license to drive a moped in Asia? Now, before we went, I looked this information up, and I got me and Finn international driving permits. So you can drive a moped, basically. You can drive a moped up to a certain cc. But make sure you've got these international driving permits. Now, what you need to do is go to the government website or look up in international driving permit, and it will give you a code of what permit you need for which country you're going to. We got two. I can't remember which numbers they were, but you can get them from the post office. Super easy. I can't remember how much it costs, but you just go to the post office. You basically pay for these permits. They just transfer all the information to that from your license, your UK license, and it just means you can drive in that country. I basically, as I said, just went to the website, checked, went to the post office, and made sure Finn did the same. And we actually did get stopped by the police twice in Thailand. Actually, no, we got stopped 3 times, I think. Yeah, we showed them the permits, had our helmets on, and there was 0 problems. So just make sure you got your permit, make sure you wear your helmet, and just be compliant with them. And they're quite nice, actually. They're not bad people. They're just doing their job. Another thing is, can I travel with medication? I have a chronic medical condition, and I need to take tablets twice a day, every day. And this was quite a scary prospect for me. In New Zealand, they were incredible. I had 5 months worth of medication, and basically they gave me a doctor's note, a pharmacist's note, and I had it all in its original packaging, and I kept it all in my hand luggage. Basically, they said you just need to declare it, and then you'll be absolutely fine. The only place that actually cared about it was Australia when we transited through. Basically, they said, oh, is it your medication? I said, yes. Have you got a note? I said, yes. And then they were like, okay, that's fine. Because I don't think I look like the person that was going to lie about it. Or I think they just believed me. But yeah, in each country, I just went and declared it. Some places you just... there's no one in there to declare it. You just walk through, and honestly had 0 problems. All of it was scanned and everything like that, and I had my notes to back it up. I was actually a little bit worried about taking this. I had like 10 boxes of medication with me. I think it was, at one point I had so much medication, took up half of my hand luggage. But yeah, had absolutely no problems whatsoever. As long as you've got notes to back it up, you'll be absolutely fine. I think in the UK, I was only allowed to take 3 months max worth of medication, but in New Zealand they were actually really good with it. Another is, what money do I bring? So best thing to do is get a travel card. So me and Finn have Starling cards. You can also get Monzo and Revolut, and they are the best cards to have. So me and Finn had our own accounts and also a joint account, so we had 2 cards as well, just in case. And yeah, it was super easy. We went to ATMs and we got money out in that currency at each country. Yeah, we got money for each of that country. The only thing that we did, I remember having currency of, was US dollars, because US dollars can get you to a lot of places, or I mean, you can pay for a lot of things in US dollars. So we did have some of those just in case. We mainly just used our travel cards and just got money out. Now ATMs will charge you. It's just finding the right bank that doesn't charge you too much. Like there was a bank in Vietnam that everyone went to because they didn't charge as much as the others. You kind of get used to it, because me and Finn we didn't actually know about what we were going to do, but we got money out at ATMs and we were fine. You've just got to be careful of your surroundings and everything like that, and just check the machine and there's like nothing wrong with it. But yeah, just check the withdrawal fee and have a little look around, scan around, see if there's other like ATMs which have a lower fee, and it's better to get a fair amount out at one time, so you're not just constantly being paid for fees, and just be careful of your surroundings. Another one is what do we do about SIM cards? SIM cards were super easy. You just have to go to a shop or a mobile provider and just get a SIM card there for 30 days or 10 days. They do travel SIM cards, but they are usually more expensive, we found out, especially in Thailand. If you go to 7-Eleven, you can basically get SIM cards, but they are significantly more expensive than if you went to a mall or a shopping centre and went to a mobile provider and got a SIM card from them for like 30 days. So just be aware and have a little scan around about what would be cheaper. The only place we did end up probably we got one at the airport in Malaysia just because we were there for 10 days, and it was just easy to just get it there and then. Apart from that, most other places we went to mobile providers directly. Question I got asked again is, do I have to book all my accommodation in advance? No, you do not. Accommodation is mostly freely available. We went during non-peak times, so we found it so easy. We sometimes booked hotels the day of and had zero problems, and there was still lots of availability. The only thing I did book in advance was the first 2 weeks. This was just kind of to get us through the first 2 weeks and not worrying, and then after that we got very lax with it and we're just booking the day before, the day of. Had a little search around to see what was the cheapest, and I mainly used Booking.com, to be honest, because I ended up getting to like level 3 genius points and you got discounts and stuff. So yeah, I mainly used Booking.com. Our friends mainly used Booking.com or Hostel World, but yeah, it was super easy. We never really worried about accommodation, to be honest, and a lot of it was pretty cheap as well. So those are just a few questions that I get frequently asked about Southeast Asia. I'm sure I've missed off a few important questions, but if you do have anything else you'd like to ask me, make sure you comment down below and I'll be happy to ask. Best thing to do is comment in this YouTube video on Instagram. If you do DM me, I do usually not see it. I don't check my requests very regularly, so best place to do is ask me down in the questions below, because also if you ask a question, some others might also have the same question. But if this was helpful at all, make sure you give this video a massive thumbs up, and as I said, subscribe down below. We will be doing some more vlogs very soon. But we just are in a busy period of work and not being able to do as many vlogs as we have been able to do before. But apart from this, thank you guys so much for watching if you are still watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.